Hello friends, taking another look at our coronavirus names. We're going to start with APT. Yesterday we talked about APT having that inside bar, and a beautiful thing has happened. We've got ourselves another inside bar inside that range. So our new inside bar has a resistance of $13.77 and a support of $11.80. So we are tightening up here, and that is what I like to see. Volume is pretty consistent with yesterday, and we're going to wait for a break to make a decision. So far, that range is being nicely contained. All of our EMAs are just in tandem, so very, very little difference between our EMA 8s, 12s, and 26s at this point, which means that trends are completely gone and we are in almost a perfect equilibrium. If we go to the hourly time frame, we can see that it's not a ping-pong equilibrium that we like to see with that overall tightening pyramid shape where we tighten up like this, but we get these nice ranges established. So those are going to be useful for us. Not a lot to say about APT. Other than watch for a break. Initial range was absolutely perfect. Let's check out the 15-minute time frame. There's our high. We lost our higher highs and we lost our higher lows. So now we are in a nice 15-minute downtrend, and we need to carve out a higher low above $11.80. If we were able to do that today, we may have just tried to do it here at the end, but what you need to do is break to new 5-minute higher highs. So I would like to see us break over this, which we did just in after hours here. And then we need to establish a higher low, changing this trend to go back up and give us a nice 4-hour tightening range and see how long we can continue this on APT. But that's that for APT, $13.77. And $11.80 is our support. LAKE on the daily time frame today. We have an inside bar as well, so that is interesting. The range for that is going to be $18.25, and then we're going to look to the support of $16.25. If we go to the hourly time frame, we can see that we are still establishing hourly higher lows, and I'm more focused on these actual trading hours, not so much the level set in pre-market. So we are a low, higher low, higher low. Now we need to hold 16.25. We want to stay inside this range tomorrow. Keep 16.25 as hourly higher low, and then break 18.25 to the upside. Then we have 19.30 resistance to watch out for. CODX. This is the chart we talked about yesterday on the 4-hour time frame. Our high, higher low, lower high. Now we wanted to see that lower. Let's start over. Our low, our high, higher low, lower high, higher low, and that's what we want to see. We drew this nice little waving pattern in to indicate the most optimal conditions for this tightening equilibrium to form. So far, we've stuck to that. We want to have a higher low in the area of, let's call it $9.50. Then we want to see a lower high under $14.88 and continue to tighten that range. That would be an absolutely perfect break. For the bulls, we need to get over $14.88 at this point. If we continue this tightening range, we'll have a new inside bar with a lower high tomorrow to watch for, continuing to tighten up that equilibrium. Absolutely beautiful. And a lot of potential setting up here on a few of these names so far. Checking out VIR on the hourly time frame. We talked about this rising wedge. So we did see a bear break after rejecting from that resistance yesterday. We opened below and saw that supporting line acting as a new resistance. So former support acting as resistance. We're now in an hourly downtrend. In order to break that, what bulls are going to have to do is get a new high over top of today's high day of 52. Actually, it's not the high of day, but that high of $52, and then we need to establish a new pattern, higher lows, higher highs, and see if we can't retain a little bit of an uptrend despite breaking this weakness. And the only reason that I'm looking at that as a possibility is because thus far we haven't seen any substantial follow through on what should have been a bearish response to a bear break of a bearish candle setup. So all of this is telling us we should see a bear break, but instead of seeing a really bearish response, we're going sideways. So that's interesting. It's something to pay very close attention to. NVAX on the daily time frame saw a big break over $10.19. That was a key resistance to watch for from yesterday's level. And we also had a resistance at 1080. So we didn't manage to close over top of that. If we open below, we're going to see if that acts as a resistance again. But beyond that, we also have high of day resistance. So what we do in this case is we go right into the 5-minute time frame. We try to determine, did 1080 act as a resistance at all or a support at all? It didn't really on the 5-minute time frame initially. We do see some support in that area, but that did fail. So I will be watching a range between 1080 and 1095 and use 11 psychological as a key resistance tomorrow. That is it for this round of videos. We're going to take a look at the next set of coronavirus stickers that you guys have requested, and that should be up shortly.